What's happening, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. Welcome back to another WNBA video. We have ourselves a nice 5-game slate to dive into today for Sunday, July 27th. So I'm going to break down and analyze each of those games. We're going to talk about which way that I'm leaning as far as the points and the spread. And then when it's all said and done, make sure you check down there into the pinned comment. You'll find a link down there that's going to send you over to the Guy Boston Sports channel. That's where all of my final plays for these games are going to be listed for free. Now, before we dive into these games, let's go ahead and jump over there to the website. We need to recap our plays from yesterday, see what we took and how that all ended up going down. Man, Saturday's another one of those just kind of frustrating days because if you watched that video, right, we had a lot of good looks, man. Talked about Natasha Cloud going over her points and rebounds, that cash. We talked about the over in the Liberty and Sparks game, that cash. Then we took the Liberty laying 8.5, and that does not cash, right? The Sparks come out here and they win by 2 on a tip-in shot from Rickea Jackson at the buzzer, who was on fire, right? Rickea Jackson has been on a complete tear. We took her points the other day. She had 4 points on 1 of 9 shooting, right? Before that, on fire. In this one, on fire. I think she knocked in 4 threes in the first quarter, right? At the end of the first quarter, guys, the commentator said, the Sparks are shooting 68% from the field, 7 of 10 from downtown. They lead by 15 in New York after 1. And I'm just watching it like, yeah, of course they are. Of course they are, because we took the Liberty, man. So yeah, it's been just the luck of the draw this season in the WNBA. Like I've been saying, man, what should happen just doesn't seem to happen. But anyways, we took the Storm and the Mystics under 156.5, and we do cash on that one. And then we take Kiki Iriafen. This is another one, man. We talked about her points. We also talked about her rebounds. She crushes the rebound line, right? But she comes up underneath this 9.5 point mark, lands at 7. So 1 and 2 on the day. Not a horrible loss or anything, just a frustrating way to lose games, like I said, because we had some good looks, we had some good reads, we just played the wrong ones. Hey, like I said, that is the luck of the draw. Scared money don't make money. We got to throw plays out there, man. You got to take some chances, and sometimes those chances don't play out for you, right? But we got 5 more games on the board today. Let's find some value in those games, guys. Smash that like button down there for me today. Hit subscribe if you have not already. Man, let's jump into the mix. 1 p.m. going to be our first game of the day. Early tip-off. Golden State Valkyries taking on the Connecticut Sun. And this line is starting to move a little bit. Valkyries were laying 6.5. That is down to 5.5 now. Total sitting at 156.5. Golden State, they come into this one fresh off of a win. Their first game back from the All-Star break. They beat the Wings at home by 10. But this isn't the greatest spot situationally for them here in this one, man. They're going to be at a 1-day rest disadvantage with travel from the West Coast to the East Coast, and then this early tip-off time as well, 1 p.m. Eastern time. That's just 10 a.m. Pacific time. So going to be a rough go here for Golden State in this one here, I feel like. The Valkyries are 11 and 10 on the year, 14 and 9 against the spread, but on the road this season, they've gone just 3 and 8, 5 and 6 to the number. They are now down Kayla Thornton for the remainder of the year. They're also going to be without Monique Billings in this one as well. Now, the Sun, they are the worst team in the W this season, man. They come in at, 3 and 20 on the year, 11 and 12 against the spread. They are 2 and 9 at home, 5 and 6 to the number when playing in Connecticut. These two, they did play once this season so far, a 24-87 to 63 Valkyries win at home. Golden State absolutely killed the Sun on the glass in that one. It was a 51-35 advantage that they had, and they pulled in 19 offensive rebounds as well, and that led to a ton of second chance points. Man, that was the key because neither team shot well in that game. The Valkyries, speaking of shooting, they are relying heavily on the three ball as of late. Over their last 5 games, they lead the W for percentage of points scored from 3-point range. They're hitting the second most threes per game, but they aren't necessarily lighting it up from the perimeter. They're shooting 34% from deep. That's just 6th in the league. Connecticut is allowing the 4th lowest shooting percentage from beyond the arc, and they sit at 5th for 3-point makes allowed. So, Valkyrie's not really shooting it really efficiently from outside. They're just shooting a ton from outside, and Connecticut isn't really getting killed from outside. For all their faults as a whole and defensively on the perimeter, they've been okay. The Sun have been scoring more from the paint. They're sitting at 5th for percentage of points scored from inside. But the Valkyries do sit at 1st for points allowed from the paint. Golden State is the better rebounding team at the end of the day, and they should dominate on the glass again here in this one. Over their last 5 games, they're giving up the fewest offensive rebounds and the 3rd fewest rebounds overall per game, while pulling in the most rebounds themselves and the 3rd most offensive rebounds. But the Valkyries don't really convert those offensive rebounds into a ton of second chance points on average, man. They're sitting at 6, and the Sun are giving up the 3rd fewest second chance points in their last 5 games. So I like Connecticut to fare a little bit better on the glass in this one than in the first head-to-head. And as far as all those turnovers, man, if they can clean that up as well, laying points with the Valkyries on the road, it starts to feel like a little more of a risk than I want to play, right? Especially in this spot here on the road, like I said, where it just situationally does not really seem to favor them. And at home, Connecticut has been more efficient with the ball this season, man. Eighth in the W overall for turnovers per game, first overall, giving up the fewest when playing at home. This Valkyries defense also takes a hit when playing on the road. They're sitting at fourth for defensive rating on the year, but just eighth one away. Man, call me crazy, but I'm going with the Sun on this one, man. I already put my play in at +6.5, and like I said, that line started to move down to +5.5. So I'm glad I did when I did. There was one plus money available at 6.5 on no vig, so I stacked that one right on up, man. I like the Sun in this one, guys. For the total, these two they have been two of the slower paced teams on the year. The Valkyries sit at last for pace, while the Sun come in at 10th. The Sun in their last 5 games at home, however, sit at second in the W for pace. I think Connecticut's going to try to get out and transition on Golden State. The Valkyries are just ninth for fast break points allowed, and the Sun are fifth for points scored on the break over their last 5 games at home. The Valks have hit 3 straight unders, and 7 of their last 10 have gone under. But I think the Sun team, man, I think that they're going to try to speed them up some. We get enough points up on the board to get just up and over this number, man. But I'm not sure that I would want to sweat it out personally. I do think it's going to be a tight one, right? And I think, end of the day, both these offenses are struggling though, and this one has the potential to get pretty sloppy at times. So it's going to be a sweat either way you take the total in this one, in my opinion, if you went over or if you went under. But I would be leaning over looking at this one here. All right, next up, going to be a 3 p.m. tip-off time. We have the Indiana Fever taking on the Chicago Sky. Fever opened up 9.5 point favorites. We see that down to 8.5 now, and the total opened up 162.5. That has dropped all the way down to 156.5 currently. And we're going to get the third head-to-head meeting between these two this season, with Indiana winning both of the prior meetings so far this year by 25 plus points. This one, though, it's going to be marred by injuries, man. Caitlin Clark remains out for Indiana with that groin injury, and the Sky look like they're going to come in extremely shorthanded for the second straight game. Ariel Atkins and Mariah Jefferson have both been ruled out already. This will be the fourth game in a row now that Atkins has missed. Angel Reese, Haley Van Lith, and Michaela Oyenware are all questionable for this one as well. Honestly, man, this one feels pretty simple for me. Just stay away. Just stay away, man. Too many injuries, too many variables. So, yeah, man, the Sky, they've been getting annihilated since this recent injury bug bit them. They've lost by their last 4, they've lost by an average margin of just under 28 points per game. They're just getting crushed. They've lost 4 straight and failed to cover as double-digit dogs in each of those as well. The Fever have smoked them in each of the previous 2 meetings, man, with no Atkins this time around and potentially no Reese. No Atkins is enough for me not to want to back Chicago, man. Just no Atkins alone. You add Reese in there as well, man. There ain't no way that I could get on the Chicago side, but I can't really get there, laying double digits with the Fever right now either, with the inconsistencies that we've seen from them. So I guess I'd lean Indiana here looking at this one, but it's an ugly game, man, with too many injuries. Like I said, too many variables for me to want to play. There's no need to force anything here on a 5 game slate. So slightest of slight leans towards Indiana, but it's like a 0.000000001% chance that I actually play anything in this one. For the total, I would probably just lean under, with all the injuries in mind and the fact that Chicago has put up 57, 68, and 49 points so far in the 3 games without Ariel Atkins out there. Um, Losing her, man, I've been saying it. It just hurts this team so bad on the offensive end, especially. There may be some value here with the number, potentially looking at a Chicago team total under even, but it's one of them games, man. I would want to know exactly who's in and who's out for sure before I can get anywhere with anything in this one. All right, next up we have the Las Vegas Aces taking on the Dallas Wings. Aces 8.5 point favorites now, total sitting at 167.5. 4 p.m. tip-off time for this one. It's going to be the third game of a 4 game road trip for the Aces. They've lost the first 2 so far, a 10 point defeat in Indiana and then a 31 point beatdown they suffered at the hands of the Lynx their last time out. They gave up 109 points in that one, man, and how fitting, right? In typical Aces fashion, man. They win a few games and they get you thinking like, hey, they might just be turning the corner and righting the ship, right? And then they come out with some duds. You know what I mean? This is the Aces, man. They have definitely seemed to struggle more when away this season, going 5-9 both straight up and against the spread on the road. The Wings at home, though, so far for what it's worth, they aren't any kind of juggernauts by any means, right? They sit at just 4-7 straight up, 5-6 to the number. And they're gonna be down not only Maddie Siegrist and Myisha Hines-Allen in this one, but also Paige Beckers. It's gonna be the third meeting between these two so far this year. The Aces have won the first two, a 4-point win in Vegas without Asia, and a 4-point win less than 2 weeks ago in Dallas with Asia. But that was one where the Aces should have had that one put away, man. But they let the Wings come back from 20 down in the fourth quarter, to just barely squeak by with that 4-point win. The Aces are just 7-11 against the spread when made favorites this season. They're 9-16 overall and have failed to cover in 4 of their last 5 games. Both these teams have a negative net rating over their last 5 games, and defensively, it's been rough on both sides. The Wings sit at 10th for defensive rating. The Aces are second from last. It's just hard to find an edge here on the side, man. The only edge I can find really is the injuries on Dallas' side. You know what I mean? I don't think that Vegas has been playing that great of basketball as a whole, to where I can be like, no, they can really get to Dallas right here, and they can really get to Dallas in this spot too. Like, I just can't find it, man. I really can't. But with that said, you know, one thing seems for certain in this one, even with the injuries on the Dallas side, these two should be able to take advantage of not only weaker defenses, but defenses that struggle against each of these teams' respective strengths on the offensive end. You see Vegas, they've been scoring from the inside, sitting at fourth for points scored from the paint in their last 5. The Wings are third from last in that regard for points allowed from the paint. Vegas has been hitting the most shots from outside the restricted area in the paint and from the mid-range, and they're doing so at the highest shooting percentage as well. The Wings are just middle of the pack in terms of field goals given up and shooting percentage allowed from outside the restricted area, and they're giving up the third most shots from the mid-range and at the highest shooting percentage. The Wings, they come in shooting well from outside, fourth in the W for above the break and overall three-point shooting percentage, and over their last 5, Vegas has been giving up the most above the break threes at the third highest shooting percentage and have allowed the most threes overall at the highest shooting percentage. And we also know that Dallas is good on the glass, man. Third overall and first for offensive rebounds and second chance points. The Aces are giving up the second most second chance points in their last 5 and the third most offensive rebounds. So, yeah, man, like I said, seems to be a ton of advantages on each side offensively. So, as far as the side with Vegas laying, what now over 4 possessions in this one, their advantages offensively being in the post, while the Wings lie on the perimeter from 3-point range. Think I would lean Dallas with the points in this one, man, even with the injuries. But it's one of those spots where the Aces looked horrible their last time out. And now everybody's going to be kind of shifting back to the other side and betting against them. And I would not be surprised to see them bounce back here because this seems like a no-brainer spot for Vegas, man, with all the injuries. And it's a potential get-right bounce back spot after that embarrassing loss their last time out. I can't get there. Not with the Aces, man. Anytime I back the Aces, it's bad news. So I'm going to lean Dallas with the points. I'm not going to touch the side in this one. Take that information and do what you will with it, man. And best of luck. Best of luck. But with that said, I do like the total in this one, man. I do like looking at the over here. That line is pretty high, and we've seen it kind of go down a little bit from where it opened up at. But head to head now, we've seen 6 straight hit to the over, 8 of their last 10. Both these teams sit inside top 5 for pace in their last 5 as well. And we just talked about all those advantages the offenses on each side have over each of these defenses. So I would be leaning over in this game. And if I play anything in this one, it would most likely be an over. And next up, going to be looking at the Phoenix Mercury taking on the Washington Mystics. 6 p.m. tip-off time for this one. Mercury are 7.5-point favorites, total sitting at 164.5. It's working its way down. It opened up at 166.5. Mystics got back to 500 with a big win over the Storm on Saturday, and they will be home here again for a back-to-back taking on Phoenix. The Mercury, they're going to come into this one on a 3-game losing streak, each of those coming by double digits, and will be on the road here for the second game of a 5-game road trip. The Mercury are 15-9 now on the year, 13-11 against the spread. The Mystics come in at 12-12, both straight up and against the spread. Phoenix is 6-5 on the road, while the Mystics have won 8 of their 12 home games so far this season. Mystics on the year, they're leading the W in percentage of points scored from 2-point range and sit last in that regard for threes, while the Mercury are third from last for percentage of points scored from 2, and they lead the league when looking at percentage of points scored from deep. Washington is third in the W for points scored from the paint, but Phoenix is second this season for points allowed from the paint. Phoenix is also hitting the second most threes in the W and at the fourth highest shooting percentage. The Mystics sit at 6 for three-pointers allowed, but opponents are only hitting them at a 30% clip from deep against them. That is second in the W. Washington has been the better team on the glass over the last 5 games, but on the year, these two are much more closer. I think this one, man, we just got to stay level-headed and not let any recency bias affect how we look at this game here, right? The Mystics do match up well with Phoenix, though. We can't deny that. And they did play the Mercury tough earlier this year in Phoenix at that. But This is a nice bounce back spot for Phoenix, and this is still a young, inconsistent Mystics team that we've seen all season. So, as much as my heart will be rooting for the Mystics in this one, I feel like this is a Mercury spot, man. So, I'm going to lean with Phoenix here. For the total, these two grinded out a slower pace, low scoring game in their first one, landing at only 130. The Mercury set at fifth on the year for defensive rating, the Mystics at seventh. But over their last five, Washington does come in at third. They're middle of the pack as far as tempo, and honestly, this number just feels pretty high. So, this Mystics offense, man, they struggle with consistency. And being on a back to back here against a defensively tough Phoenix team, I'm going to lean under looking at this game. And then our next one, man, looking at the Dream and the Lynx, 7 p.m. tip-off time for that one. Lynx are laying 8.5, total sitting at 158.5. Atlanta's going to have a 2-day rest advantage here, but they will be playing in their sixth straight road game, a road trip that was broke up into 3 games each, man. One set coming before the All-Star break, and then the remaining 3 coming here after. They are coming into this one off an impressive win over the Mercury, 90-79, in which they won outright as road dogs. They're 14-10 on the year now, 13-11 against the spread, but they are just 6-7 when playing on the road, 7-6 to the number in those games. The Lynx, they come in at a league best, 22-4, 14-0 at home. They're 16-10 against the spread, and they're 10-5 to the number when playing in Minnesota. The Lynx have been on an absolute tear, man. We can't deny it whatsoever. 4 straight wins now, all by double digits and by an average win differential of 20 points per game. They're crushing teams, man, crushing them, not even close. First in the W across the board for offensive, defensive, and overall net rating over the course of the season. All year. First across the board, man. The Dream do come in at fourth offensively, sixth defensively, and third for net rating, but they become a different team on both ends of the court, for worse at that, when they are without Ryan Howard. She's going to be out here for Atlanta. These two met earlier in the year, man, and it was a thriller. Maybe the best game of the year so far, even. It was a 96-92 Lynx win in overtime. You look at that one, man, the Lynx, they were crushed on the glass in that one, but ultimately, Atlanta shot 4 of 22 from deep, just 18% shooting, and that's not going to get it done when you rely on the three ball the way that Atlanta does. But it's not just that they had an off night shooting. This is what Minnesota does. You know what I mean? They allow the lowest three-point shooting percentage to opponents on the course of the season. And then offensively, they can get to you on all 3 levels. Over their last 5, they're hitting the 4th most shots from the restricted area and at the 3rd highest shooting percentage. They're making the 2nd most shots from the mid-range and above the break 3, and they're hitting both at the 3rd highest shooting percentage. I like Atlanta, man. I really do. It's a good team, and I think they're fun to watch, man. But without Ryan out there to help slow down this Minnesota attack along the perimeter, man, and without her scoring prowess on the other end, I got to lean with the Lynx here, laying the points. And for that total, Minnesota was an under team for a while, man, to open up this year. And we've seen Atlanta hit to the under in 3 of their last 4, all of those without Howard for the record. But the Lynx have recently been an over machine, man, hitting to the over in 5 of their last 6, hitting for over 90 points in 4 of those, including that 109-point explosion their last time out. I'm not sure if I would want to trust Atlanta's offense in this one, though, but I would be leaning over. It may just stay a lean with that in mind, though, man. But we can get a Lynx team total right now. Looking at 82.5, 83.5, depending on where you look, and that may be the look right there. I think they get some points up in this one, and in the low 80s, that doesn't feel like a huge ask of this team, especially what we've seen from them as of late on the offensive end. So if I play anything total wise, that's probably where I would look, is just to isolate it to the Lynx and their team total. And that is going to wrap it up, guys. I'm not seeing any player props really that are like popping out to me, and that really sucks. A 5-game slate, you would think that you would find something, man, but I'm just not really seeing anything that I love. I don't want to force anything, man. This has been a crazy, crazy WNBA season. Trying to chip away and get back in the green, man, so we don't need to dig any holes here trying to find a player prop, you know what I mean? And they've been so volatile anyways. How many player props have lost on the hook this year? Makes me not even want to play them anymore, you know what I mean? I will still put some player props out there when they come, but I'm not going to force anything, and that's definitely where I'm feeling today. So, sometimes as the day goes on, line shifts, odds move, things that and such of the nature. And if that happens, man, and I find anything that I like, I will throw that up there on the website. So make sure you're checking in there. I do update that throughout the day as I find plays that I want to put in. And as soon as that play is official, man, as soon as I hit submit bet, I'll put it up there on the website so you guys can tail it, or you can fade it, whatever you choose to do, man. So hope you guys all have a great day today. Hope you guys all cash out. Let's have a great Sunday, man. Finish this weekend off with a bang. I'll see you all back tomorrow for the next one.